Welcome, my friends. Welcome to the best rock, hard rock channel, hair metal channel, whatever you want to call it. We are the best rock channel. You know why? Because we do our shows live, just like how music's supposed to be, live. That's the way everything goes, live, live, live. If anybody could record a video, take in the back room, cut it, recut it, do this, make it look fancy. No, here we do it live because if we make a mistake, oh well, we move on. Okay, today is going to be an interesting topic because everybody's music taste is different. Everybody has different music taste, right? There's nothing. Oh, sorry about that. Got this damn corgi dog who loves to bark at anybody who comes upstairs. So if you hear a dog bark, don't worry. That dog just does what he does. All right. First of all, we got Danny Stanton in the house. He's greetings from South Carolina. All right, we got Roxy J7T. Hello, my friend. Okay, so we're talking about Faster Pussycat. Now, Faster Pussycat is a band that a lot of people know, but it's a band that, in my opinion, doesn't get the respect that I think they should get. And for some reason, with their second album, Wake Me When It's Over, that I feel is a flawless album, and we're going to get to it, that people, when I talk to people about Faster Pussycat, it's always like the same thing. You mean the House of Pain guys? I mean, it's almost every single time, you know, House of Pain, and it's always like, okay, they have a ballad. Almost every band out there have ballads. Right? Ozzy Osbourne, Wizard of Oz had a ballad, you know, Say Goodbye to Romance. I mean, every band has ballads. Kiss had Beth in the 70s. So bands do have ballads. But they let off the album with a ballad. No, they didn't. Poison Ivy was the first release from the album. House of Pain came after. It's just House of Pain was the popular song. So for some reason, I don't know if that album, sorry, this dog is just nuts. I don't get it. But like always on every show that we do, we always show like the album sales from the band. Okay, so let's look at the album sales here. Okay, so I don't want that one. We're going to go to that one in a little bit, but we're going to go to album sales of Faster Pussycat. Now, unfortunately, Wake Me When It's Over is the only album that has recorded sales, and it only sold gold. Now, I don't know what it is today because music is not counted. Where you got to understand, bands back in the day, they had to pay to get a certification when they sold millions of copies, when they sold gold. Bands actually had to pay to get that, gold record, silver record on the wall. Now, most bands nowadays don't pay for that, and they count streaming differently. I don't know, but we're going to base it on the last time they actually did certification sales. So they only had one album that actually sold gold. The debut album doesn't say how much it sold, and the albums after that. So Wake Me When It's Over only sold 500,000 copies. And to this day, I honestly fully do not understand, because if you guys in the chat or who's ever watching, if you really, truly have never listened to the album, after this show, listen to the album. Trust me. When you think about Faster Pussycat, okay, they came out here. Let's do this. Let's talk about a little bit of the history about Faster Pussycat. So they came out basically, they formed in 1985, but the first debut album came out in 1987. So in 1987, 86 is when a lot of these bands got signed. And of course, they made the album and it came out in 87. So after the success from bands like Motley Crue, Dokken, Def Leppard, even Poison, Cinderella, because, they came out in 86. So a lot of these bands, Metallica, Iron Maiden, lot more bands, especially from the Sunset Strip, were getting signed. So Faster Pussycat got signed exactly during the same time as Guns N' Roses. I know a lot of people are like, Guns N' Roses were 80s. No, Guns N' Roses' first album didn't come out in 1987 as Faster Pussycat did. Bands were just more bands. It was easier for bands to get signed after the success of Rat and all those bands. So the market saw, hey, these bands could do it. So there's a lot of bands that came out 87, 88, 89. If you want to call them pop rock, you want to call them, they were just dressing them up to look like the other bands. Now there's a few bands that had their own kind of style in a way, their own, they were, even though they came out in 87, they were just as real as the early 80s bands. And the two bands I always say that came out in 87 that were three bands. I'm going to say three bands that I consider were like, could have came out in the early 80s, just like the other ones. That's Guns N' Roses, Faster Pussycat, and LA Guns. I feel like those three bands were like the early 80s. They didn't fall into that, okay, we got to look like Poison. We got to play as fast as Metallica. We got to be as crazy hooligans as Motley Crue. You know what I mean? Faster Pussycat, LA Guns, and Guns N' Roses. Well, LA Guns and Guns N' Roses, a lot of them used to play with each other. They split. That's how the names, like Guns N' Roses, LA Guns, they were like intertwined together in so many ways. But those are the three bands I always consider in the later 80s that could have been easily from the early 80s. That's just my opinion. So basically, if you read just some of the stuff, we're not going to read the whole freaking thing. But Faster Pussycat, Los Angeles, former 85, vocalist Tammy Down, guitarist Grace Still, and Brent Mascott, bassist Kelly Nichols. The group has since gone through a lot of lineups like any other bands. The Inner Fighting, Faster Pussycat plays today, but one time there were two different bands called Faster Pussycat to split. The same thing that Rat went through. The lawyers fighting over the name rights. All that. We're not here to talk about the name rights and all that. We don't care. We're here to talk more about their second album that I consider brilliant. But so. They came out with their debut album, Faster Pussycat, which was a great debut album. Don't Change That Song was great. Cat House, Bathroom Wall. So a lot of great songs off the debut album. But if you could compare that debut album with Guns N' Roses' Appetite for Destruction, of course, Appetite for Destruction crushed it. Every song you could say is one of those rare albums where every song was good, right? So Pussycat debut album was good, but it wasn't as par as Appetite. But I'm going to say this, and a lot of people are going to look at me like you're fucking crazy. Now, when Guns N' Roses came out with Use Your Illusion, that was like their second album, or second or third, you want to call it, volume 1, volume 2. And then Faster Pussycat came out with Wake Me When It's Over. Wake Me When It's Over is flawless, way better than Use Your Illusion. I mean, I feel like Guns N' Roses took a step back, and Faster Pussycat took a way step forward, in my opinion. Again, music is all ejected to different people, different taste. But I'm just saying, I feel like Faster Pussycat really found their magic when they did Wake Me When It's Over. Okay, so let's see anything here. The name came from the movie Faster Pussycat Kill Kill, if a lot of you didn't know. After early changes, Kelly Nichols actually got in an accident, broke his leg. So he was replaced, but he actually joined LA Guns. Probably why some of them will say they have like not similar sounds, but that real kind of a street rock sound. So again, it says here, Sunset Strip, the frenzied mid 80s when bands were being signed, like Guns N' Roses, Poison. Now remember, Poison and Cinderella came out in 86. They came out before Faster Pussycat and Guns N' Roses. So they already were established as a signed band and making it. Faster Pussycat signed a record contract with Elektra Records, which released their debut album. The band established following among heavy metal, glam rock, sleaze rock fans with the songs Bathroom Wall, Don't Change That Song. 87, the band appeared on the cover of Scream magazine debut issue. And Faster Pussycat opened up for bands like Alice Cooper, David Lee Roth, Motorhead. Now, I'm going to tell you something about Motorhead. Motorhead doesn't just take any band as an opening act. You know, if you, even though Alice Cooper and David Lee Roth were probably bigger than Motorhead, but Motorhead, you know, if you open up for Motorhead, you got the respect from a real hardcore rocker. I mean, Alice Cooper is too, because Alice Cooper, you know, started in the 70s. They appeared in a rockumentary, The Decline of Western Civilization, Part 2, The Metal Years. Band was interviewed, performed live versions, blah, blah, blah. Okay, music. Okay, the album earned gold status, which I don't understand. That album should have sold 3-4 million copies right off the bat. No questions asked. Well, the band was touring drummer, okay, in the 90s and the you know, okay. Now, and I always said in the top 5 remakes from hard rock bands, hair metal bands, whatever you want to call them, I always consider in the top 5, I always believe that the Carly Simons remake, You're So Vain by Faster Pussycat, was one of the best remakes out there. One of the best. You're So Vain is a fantastic remake. If you haven't listened to it, you really should, because that is a great, great, great remake. Now, I don't care about reunions and changes, because that's when all bands never had the original lineup. That's when bands were fighting with names, you know, we own the rights, blah, 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 blah. That part we don't care about, okay? Because you can see all these names are different from the former members. Look at all the members that they have had. So, you know, again, okay, you can see here the 4 major labels, the debut, Wake Me When It's Over, Whip, The Power, and the Glory Hole. But we're here to talk about Wake Me When It's Over. So Wake Me When It's Over, let's see here. Let me see here. Second album, released 1989. Poison Ivy was actually the first video. Then it was House of Pain. And then let's see here. Okay, so let's talk about the songs that was on this album. My favorite song off the album is actually the very first one, Where There's a Whip, There's a Way. If it's probably, in my opinion, one of the best first song on albums that could be. I mean, that song represents everything that you're going to hear from the album. Of course, the title is great, right? Where there's the whip, there's a way. And then when you go into a song like Little Dove, it has like a funk, like a little Prince kind of a funk sound in the beginning. Poison Ivy is a type of song, is like Nothing But a Good Time for Poison, that really high energy live song. House of Pain is a great ballad, you know, and then songs like Gonna Walk, Pulling Weeds, and, you know, Slip of the Tongue. Always reminds me a little bit of Slip of the Lip from Rat. One of the best songs on here, Slip of the Tongue. Crying Shame, solid. Tattoo, solid. Ain't No Way Around It, very solid. Arizona Indian Doll. And then the last song, now apparently for whatever reason not on the vinyl, but you guys got to understand, when they did vinyls, to have a good solid sounding vinyl, you can only have certain minutes where they could produce on both sides of a record to have a solid sound. So if they would have put Please Dear on the vinyl, it would lower the quality of the vinyl, just how they were recorded back in the day. So that's why Please Dear wasn't on a vinyl, because they would have had to come out with 2 records to give you that exact quality that you want to hear. So if you guys needed to know that, I don't know if you guys needed to know that or not, but that's why Please Dear wasn't on the vinyl. It wasn't, they wanted quality. So, but during that time, most people had cassettes, and, you know, CDs were getting more popular. So, and all that. You know, I haven't been looking at the chat Let me see here. Hanoi Rocks is fantastic. And I will be, Danny, I will be doing a show directly on Hanoi Rocks. Faster Pussycat seriously rocks. I love Faster Pussycat. Taming Down is a musical genius. His voice, you know, it's, you could say it's close to Tom Kiefer's voice, Steven Tyler, Brian Johnson. So he's got that scratchiness type of voice, but his songs, his singing is great. He like, again, Faster Pussycat does not get the credit they deserve. For the life of me, you try to sit there and you evaluate, music during that time. And I'm telling you guys right now, don't here. I'm going to take this one off. I'm going to put it because I have YouTube music on here, and and the music. Sometimes I go in there and I'm curious about like how many people listen to a song, right? Like House of Pain has 40 million listens, and it kind of tells me how many people are really listening to this album. And when I'm looking at this album, people will listen to House of Pain and maybe Poison Ivy, and that's about it. And I'm telling you guys right now, please give this album a chance, because in my opinion, it's totally flawless. And what I consider a flawless album is when, how a lot of albums have fillers, right? You don't even say it's in the middle, right? To me, there is no fillers. Every song is above average. Even these low, like Tattoo Arizona has like the less listen, like, or Going to Walk. That song starts out hitting on the drums. I wish I could play these songs for you guys, but with the copyrights, takedowns, I can't play these songs for you. But I'm telling you right now, Faster Pussycat, When It's Over, is a flawless album. Okay? Now, if you listen to it, if you don't think so, or you say, you know what, Eric, you're right. It is a good album. Let me know. Put it in the comments. And if you hate the album, you listen to it and say, Eric, I don't know what you're smoking. You need to get off those drugs, get off those pills, because the album is horrible. Then tell me. Put that in the comments. Because I'm telling you right now, if you listen to the whole album, put the headphones on, just minus everything out in life, I'm telling you guys right now, it is one of the rare albums of the 80s that is flawless. And I know some of you are judging the name. Faster Pussycat has a flawless album. And listen, and there are people who always say, oh no, the debut album is the best because the most raw. And I get that. I understand that. A lot of first albums, they're made with low budgets. And there's a certain sound with low budget albums that can last forever. And I get that. Their first debut album is great. But I'm telling you right now, give this album a chance. Now, let's see here. Okay, this year, I'll listen to the album in my next walk around the neighborhood. Here in Brazil, I didn't know much about Faster Pussycat at that time. Only some information, foreign magazine gritty. And that's the thing. That's the thing, my friend. That's the problem. Because Faster Pussycat, most of the popularity came from the ballad House of Pain. They kind of get stuck into this. Oh, they're just a ballad band. That's the only real slow ballad on the album. There are other songs that's a little slower, but like Please Dear, I guess you might say that could be like a ballad on there. But most of the songs rock. Why will play it? I will play it. Yeah, play it, because YouTube is getting worse about music. It's not that YouTube. Hold on a second. Let me stick up for YouTube just for on this part. There's these companies now that these music companies have hired that are out looking for clips, videos that their music being played, and not just like, okay, we're gonna put a copyright on it. You pay us the money. I don't care. I don't make any money. You take the nickel, right? But they have the right to take the whole video down. And also, if they want, they could give you a strike on the channel. You know, that's why when I first started this channel, I did a lot of in the beginning, bands with music. And I got hit with so many copyrights. I had to call, fight. And it got to a point where I have a couple of videos I was taking down because you just can't do it. And they're saying, you know, if you do it, we're going to take this away. And to me, I love talking to you guys. I love doing live shows because this is where, you know, rock and roll, hard rock music is meant to be live. So I can't play it, but you guys can. So listen to the album. I'm telling you, in my opinion, it's a flawless album. And I wish more bands would listen to them. And also, they also have, if you like live albums, if you're into live albums like I am, they, in my opinion, for live albums, have one of the best live albums that I love. The live album that Faster Pussycat came out in 2009. It's called Front Row of the Donkey Show. Front Row at a Donkey Show. Just that name itself. Faster Pussycat is a great band. I saw them live, open for Ace Frehley. Faster Pussycat was the shit. That's what my point is. If you listen to the hardcore rockers, they'll tell you Faster Pussycat. And also, Faster Pussycat just wasn't great live. I mean, great on the albums. They actually could sing those live. Yes. Yeah. Danny, Danny, my buddy, my friend, knows how many videos and shows got taken down because of music. Danny knows. I had another channel that could not be used about 4 months because all the strikes. Now, I'll tell you my fun experience about watching Faster Pussycat live. Okay, so Motley Crue Dr. Feelgood tour was coming to Fresno, right? Fresno, California. Because I live in Seattle now, but I was born and raised in Fresno, California. So, and when bands, a lot of bands do not come to Fresno. Fresno's in the middle of California. So a lot of bands didn't come. So when a band comes, right, it's an event. So Motley Crue was coming and Faster Pussycat was the opening act. And of course, we were in high school, and those were the days that we could ride back of trucks, behind trucks. It wasn't against the law. And you could say we had a lot of punch, a lot of drinking, a lot of punch on the way. I think I was maybe 17 at that time, maybe 17. And then they were playing at Southern Arena. Of course, Motley Crue's an arena band. And then I remember we pulled up. we were so sugar up from the punch. We all jumped out of the back of the truck. We all puked. We had to let all that sugar out. And then, of course, we went in there right when Faster Pussycat was opening up. They were a great band. But, of course, when you see an opening act, at that time, they were representing Wake Me When It's Over. But when you're an opening act, they only play like 6-7 songs. They only have like a 35-minute thing. And then, Faster Pussycat never came back to Fresno as a regular, like, smaller venue tour. So I never saw Faster Pussycat with the original lineup in the heyday. I only saw them as an opening act, which was great, but I never got to hear like all their songs they would have if they would have been a headlining act and all that. So again, if you haven't have a chance, listen to the album. Now, anybody who's here, my friend Danny, I want you to start doing some research too. We're going to do our live show on Friday. We're going to do something different, right? We keep hearing about how AI can create lyrics for a title, and then there's another web that can make songs for it. So this Friday, let's have some fun. Let's test this out and let's make a full album, right? Let's make a fake name, and we'll check it out. So some of you guys know some of these AI thing. Let's see, because I haven't played with AI on making music and lyrics, so I've never done that. But I want to do it live with you guys. Let's have some fun. Let's create our own album, create our own band, and let's see what we come up with. Okay, was that a deal with you guys? Is that a deal? So beyond that, I appreciate you guys being here. Yep, grew up on the album, although I prefer the slutty stuff more. Yeah, they were considered more of the sleazy type music, but the lyrics were brilliantly. Come on, where there's whip, there's a way. Say no more. Say no more. So beyond that, take a listen to the whole album. Let me know in the comments and share this channel out, guys, because this is the best rock channel of all of YouTube. Why? Because we do this live. We don't pre-record things. We do it live where you and I can interact. Let your friends know. Let's interact. Let's have some fun. And let's create our own 80s rock music Friday with this AI stuff. So beyond that, you guys have a great day, and I'll see you all back on Friday.